Hello and welcome to the Voice of Oneness. I am your host, Amora Satya Ra, and together with the Master Teachers of Oneness, we present the Divine Teachings of Oneness to help you reclaim your power and soar to new heights by awakening to the truth of who you really are. It was many years ago when I was first contacted by what I call this vast collective of entities that are not on the physical plane. And I was asked if I would accept the role that I had chosen before incarnating into this life of a teacher of divine oneness. And would I speak these teachings out into the world? And of course, I accepted many years ago. And I asked them what name they wanted to be known as. And the first response was, there is no name. They didn't want to be known as a name. They simply wanted to present the teachings and have the teachings be the message and not people coming to listen to or tuning into based on a name, and making the messenger the most important. So I said, oh, I understand, but I'd like a name. And they said, okay, how about Theos? So I started using Theos in the very beginning. And then I noticed that there were others using the name Theos. And I kind of felt, well, I'd like to choose a different name, a name that was just unique to what we were doing. So I asked, how about the Voice of Oneness? So it was my choice to choose the Voice of Oneness. And they said, okay, fine. And then they proceeded to name me. They changed my name as well. And they said, would I accept the name that they wanted me to step into? They said, that is my name. And the name is Umara, and it's meant to be Om Ara, which I usually say Amora because many people have trouble with Amara. And then Satya, and then Ra. And they said, I immediately went on Google after that to try to figure out what the name, I broke the name down to try to figure out the meaning. And I could hear them giggling in my head. And then they told me that the name means eternal truth in light. And that there was much more to it, and that I would understand as time went on. So I accepted the name, which is a hard name to accept in the world. And took a lot of heat from some people and making fun, and others saying to my husband, oh, are you Mr. Raw? But my married name is Bonet and my legal name is Catherine Bonet. But when I'm doing this work, I will always use Amora Satya Ra, and there's reasons for it that I don't go into, but it's what I understand to be necessary. So that's why I use it. And that's a question that's come up a lot throughout the years. Where'd you get the name? The name doesn't really, you don't look like an Amora Satya Ra. And I never really wanted to go too much into detail about the where, the why, the how, and just let it be, because it's not really important. It's not really important to the messaging that comes through. So I've also been asked, why teach oneness? Why the teachings of oneness are important. And that was a question posed many years ago by a client of mine. So I felt tonight, to begin this podcast episode, that I'd like to read the writing that the team put forth explaining why teach oneness. Because many times when we look at the title Voice of Oneness podcast, it doesn't really describe what it's about. It's hard to kind of understand. And many people, I realize since the very beginning, may not yet be ready for these teachings, the teachings of oneness. It takes us deep within and has us open our hearts and awaken to the true nature of that which we are. And that's a journey and a process. And the results are that we become aware of the true nature of our being. We have experiential experiences that we have that help us to understand who and what we are as we practice, put these teachings into practice, and we evolve. We evolve into living a life from the perspective of love, from the field of love, and not fear. So it's the journey home. It's the road back to oneness. That's the short of it. But that's usually how I explain it. But I want to read this and have how the team explained it to this particular client. So I'm going to begin. So, and I also, during the podcast, you'll see me, I'll be reading, and I very rarely look into the camera because I'm always reading or in thought or tuning in. So if I'm not looking into the camera and that frustrates you, I apologize, but it frustrates me to stare into a camera. So bear with me is what I ask. Have patience with me. So here's what the writing is. I wish to share a writing from the Voice of Oneness to a client who asked why to teach oneness. And the response was, "Dear one, there are so many areas to focus on." This is a very good question, and we respond in resonance to the energy present at this time. We are here to speak of oneness. Our love is here for all. We are to assist in the transformation of consciousness to unity awareness. We are not concerned with the misinformation or mishaps of mankind at this juncture. We are only interested in the teachings of oneness. All are love, only love. We wish. Oops, excuse me, I read that wrong. We present for all who wish to receive these teachings. We do not discriminate in any way. No matter what has been, we offer only the path of love. We are not here to judge, condemn, or deny. We are the steady flow of love consciousness. There are so many who are desperately seeking to elevate their position in the collective consciousness experiment. They choose many forms of expression. Each is their choice. To this, we answer, we provide a path of love, not a quick fix, but a guaranteed way to achieve what is in the heart. If one would but apply these lessons with deliberate intent to experience the fullness of their being in each and every moment, oh, what a world this would be. So many are so busy taking up causes to rally against themselves. While they believe they are helping to elevate themselves and their brothers, they are, in fact, causing further decline of their consciousness. They limit their expression and expansion and hold themselves and others deep in the cycle of fear. This is so very difficult for many to understand. It does not seem logical to turn from the causes to the self as the prime cause. The love of self must be taught, must be learned, must be expressed. Love of self, life of oneness is a must. Therefore, we have chosen to teach oneness. There exists an endless array of subjects we could teach too, the enjoyment of many for the expansion of consciousness. But it would never reveal all that is to be. only through oneness are all to be freed from the enslavement of the mind to fear. Only love will set all free. Only love. No other force can do this. Yes, you can turn a lot of heads with magic tricks, but you can never fool their hearts. They will not open unless the field is one of love. What is true alchemy? Who is the true alchemist? To turn a stone into gold is a cheap magic trick. To free the heart is the truth. True alchemy. You see, it is easy to learn rituals and perform feats to impress the mind. But the one who is filled with love is the true alchemist. This one presents the magic of love, wherein all things are possible. The voice of oneness is a message of love to all, a way to open for some, and for others, a way to return. But for all, love is ever present. And that was written many years ago from the voice of oneness to explain why teach oneness. Self-love is of the utmost importance, that we learn to love and accept ourselves. And in doing so, we learn about who we are. And we learn to trust. We learn to open. We learn to accept, to love, trust, and accept. And then we find ourselves living in the field of love. And what a different experience we have, a total different reality. We're opening to our oneness. And as we do that, more and more of us, the experience we have on this planet shifts greatly. And we are in the process of this great shift at this time. Some of us are opening, some of us are becoming aware. We're all at a point of choosing what it is that we wish to move forward with. Do we wish to open to love, or do we wish to experience the fear? To be locked in the fear, because the fear is an illusion. It's not the truth. It's not anywhere near the truth of that which you are. It's that which you are not. But it must be present, because in this, we can call it an experiment, we can call it the game of life. But illusion, the veil of illusion, must be present so that we can choose to pierce that veil and to step into the light of which we are. But we must choose. And how we choose is opening up to experience truth, recognizing it, becoming aware, and then choosing it and moving deeper within it. For we're held under this veil of illusion until we are able to pierce through and break this. We can call it a spell. It's a very powerful force that keeps us within the illusion of separation. Separation from that which we are. We are, each and every one of us, love. Love is real. We're here to experience love. Love knows no boundaries. It possesses not a person, a place, or a thing. Love needs not anything, needs not anything, as it is free, expanding in ever evolving wholeness. Let me read that part again. Love needs not anything, as it is forever free, expanding in ever evolving wholeness. Love is an abundant flow of eternal knowing. Love reveals and love heals. In truth, love is all there is. Be free, choose love. To choose love is to choose to open to the true nature of that which you are. You are love. We are love, each and every one of us. No matter whether we understand it or not, that doesn't choose that which we are. If we're living a life and we're fear-based, it doesn't change the fact that we are love. It's love expressing itself as fear because we're not in touch with the truth of who we are. We're living the illusion. Now, we're allowed to do that because this experiment of which we are within on this planet is a free will experiment. We have the free will to choose. We choose. We must choose, each and every one of us. No one may choose for us. Now, some people will argue and say, well, then that doesn't hold true for the statement that we're enslaved by this very strong force of which illusion is the energy. We say, yes, that force is active. It is a reality. It is active, but it's illusion. It holds no true power. The power that this force receives is through the manipulation of the ones who hold the power. The ones who hold the power are each and every one of us. We are love, created by love, to experience the love of which we are, living the life in this free will experiment. We go from the illusion of separation, and then we must choose love. We must choose to open to the light of that which we are. We must take ourselves out of darkness. We must choose. And that's part of what this great awakening is about. It's about choice. It's about claiming that which we are and saying, I am love. I am whole. I am free. I am free. I am free when I say I am free. Until then, I'm enslaved because I believe someone else holds power over me. I believe that there are people in position and in the government, perhaps, that hold the power, that wield the power. They don't wield the power. We give them the power. When we take the power back by choosing the love of which we are, it's quite a different story. We hold the power. The illusion receives the power through the control of that which we are, by the illusion that we are being controlled. When we stop and say no more, and we take our power back, and we learn how to step into the position of the creator beings that we are, to choose and create in accordance with love, that's a game changer. And there are those that are changing the game right now. Each and every one of us has the opportunity to do so. And some people will say, well, I don't feel connected. I don't feel that. Or I don't feel that there's a creator that created me. I don't know where I come from. I have no belief in God or a creator. So I don't have the power. And to that, I say that's not true. That's simply a belief. It's not true. I have worked with people that have held beliefs that they were powerless and they lived in darkness, in deep darkness. And it took time and teaching and support and guidance and love to restore them to their rightful position, knowing the truth that they are love. And I witnessed their life totally transform, total new beginnings, grand awakening, living life as love, and making a great impact in the world of which we are living now by simply being the presence, holding the awareness, and living that. And that's for each and every one of us to do. We must choose. In order to choose, we must be willing to step into self-love. Most people believe deep within their subconscious mind, and that's what runs the show, not the conscious mind. It's the subconscious mind, that we are not enough. They're not enough. I'm not enough. I have to become something. I have to achieve something. I have to amass something. It could be wealth. It could be position. It could be a certain figure. It could be a certain degree, whatever it may be. It's always seeking to become. I'm seeking to become something. I'm seeking to become something. And the seeking is endless. For there's nothing to become. You are already all that you'll ever be. It's not a process of becoming. It's a process of awakening. Awakening to that. Now, how do we awaken to that? We awaken to that by living life and by being willing to release that which we're holding on to, that tells the story of we're not enough, that tells the story of I need to become something else. All of the stories we tell, we're telling in our attempt to control our environment, to control our life, to make sense out of that which doesn't make sense because it's not meant to. Fear will never make sense. It's the illusion. Truth holds the sense, not fear. Fear keeps one frightened, anxious. The lack of stability, always afraid that someone's going to take away that which you've achieved, that you're going to lose something. I've got the fear I'm going to lose my partner to someone else who's going to come along, who's going to be better than I am. I'm going to lose my job because somebody's going to come along that's going to be younger than I am, or an AI, or whatever it may be. This fear, this gnawing sense of I'm not enough, I can't hold on to this, I'm struggling, I've got to constantly become something in order to achieve a peace of which I'm longing for. I'll never find it in fear. It exists only in the state of love, in the consciousness of love. So if I'm in fear and I'm seeking this peace and I'm seeking security and I'm seeking to evolve and to grow and expand my consciousness, then I must learn. I must learn how to first and foremost love myself. I must learn about who I am. I must learn about what love is. I must explore that. I must open myself to that process. I must believe that I am love and allow myself to experience from that perspective, rather than I'm a victim of this world. I hold no true power. I'm so frightened. I'm frightened of everything because I've given my power away. I'm supposed to be frightened. This is my soul letting me know, hey, you're going in the wrong direction. Come back, come back. Take your power back. Realize that you are a creator being. You were already created. You don't get to create yourself. You were created. You get to experience yourself as the creator. There's a difference. It's a very mighty difference. One's opening to the truth of that which we are, and one's believing in the illusion. In oneness, we are all from the source, the one source. We are all created from the one source. Therefore, we are that source in creation. We are here in creation experiencing ourselves as that source, to whatever degree we find ourselves in life experiencing. For some of us, we are in total darkness. We are not in recognition of the source of which we are. We are feeling powerless and trying to achieve power through other miscreations, through other means, by aligning with the darkness. So the darkness will create a sense of power, but it's false. And we see that now as we are experiencing the fall of the darkness. That which is not the truth is now in the process of being revealed. And we can say, being revealed, exposed, collapsing in on itself, so that it may rebuild in the light. And that's what we're experiencing now. And we get to choose to experience love as we release ourselves from holding on to the need to create. And this comes in so many different ways. The need to create based on a false belief in the controlling of your environment and the controlling of others. We see that in very well right now in the political arenas. Who we align with and the lack of allowing others their free choice. If we're aligning with a particular candidate and we are expressing out into the world hate for the opposing candidate or those that align with that candidate, we are living deep in darkness. We are very much in fear. And I know a lot of folks are not going to want to hear that, but it's simply what is. That is not oneness. That is not truth. That is denying the oneness of which we are. That's denying the fact that I am one with all of creation. It's saying I am separate, I'm over here. This group that I belong to, this group has the right way, and everyone outside of this group is wrong. Everyone outside of this group I must condemn. That's separation, that's the illusion of power. That is not the truth of that which we are. That's the expression of fear. If we are expressing love and we're choosing a particular candidate, then we say, this is my choice because this is who I feel I'm in resonance with. This is who feels right for me. As I sit by myself and I evaluate their platform, I evaluate their messaging, I evaluate their actions through the observation, and I allow myself to feel into that, and I make my choice, and I stand in my choice. And I stand in, I have the right to choose. No one gets to choose for me. We each have the right, and I have the right to choose, and I know that as I choose, this is my right, and I allow others their right to choose. So there's no need for me to spread hate. There's no need for me to go on a social media platform and start criticizing, belittling, diminishing others who are not aligned with the candidate of my choice. For that's fear. That's not love. Which means that I'm not making that choice from a place of love. I'm making that choice from a place of which I do not feel empowered. I feel that the candidate I'm choosing holds the power, and they had better get into office, otherwise, who knows what might happen. That's the illusion. That's the energy of fear. That's the force that wants to keep us enslaved. But this is the time now, more than any other time in the past, for us to choose love. This is the time. We get to choose love. We must choose and not be chosen for. We choose. So as we do that, we understand we're all one. We're all in this together. How are we supporting one another? How are we being kind to one another? How are we holding space for one another? Have I dropped the need for someone else to behave as I choose for them to behave? Have I reached a point of growth within myself where I say, you know what? They're choosing an expression that I don't resonate with. It doesn't feel right to me. But I know that they have the right to choose it. Therefore, I support them in their choice. And I let them be. I don't have to behave like they do, and they don't have to behave like I do. I choose love. Love simply is. It doesn't need anything from anyone. It simply is. Love does not need someone to behave a certain way. That's not true love. That's fear. Fear says you must do this in order to receive love. Love has no conditions. We place the conditions. Love does not. So when we come to that awareness, we come to that understanding. We've studied the principles. We understand what love is. Then we recognize when we are aligned with love or when we're not. And if we're comfortable in the fear or in the darkness, then we have the right to remain there. We have the right to remain there until we choose differently. If and when we have the right to remain there. Without the threat of somebody else telling us that that's not allowed, we can't do that. We certainly can. But this is a time of great awakening. So as the energy begins to change, we begin shifting, we begin awakening in one by one. It shifts the energy for the collective. So it makes it easier for others to rise up and to see love in action and say, whoa, wait a minute. I choose that. And to move into that. And that's what's happening. More and more people are becoming aware and they're making different choices. Asking yourself, we can each do this, is my action in this moment loving? Am I letting myself be without having to become something other than that which I am? Am I allowing myself to experience me? Am I allowing myself to tune into what brings me joy? And if I'm distanced from that, am I allowing myself the process it takes to return to that understanding? This is all a process of self-care, self-love, so that we may progress on the evolutionary path to return to love, to oneness. This we have to ask ourselves. What is it we choose? What is it we choose? When we do that in relationships with one another, and that's how we learn and that's how we grow, how we interrelate with one another. And we'll have a relationship with someone, and within our own minds, we believe we know that person. When most of the time, what we know is our own perception and our own mind of who that person is. We don't really know that person. In order to truly know that person, we must truly know ourselves. And when we truly know ourselves, we know that that person is one with us. And that sounds very deep. It is very deep. And it is a truth that we get to experience here in this life, should we choose. But in order to experience the individual that we're in relationship with, we must be open to allow ourselves to release who we think they are or who we need them to be and let them be. Without having to make them into something they're not or tell them that they're wrong because they're not behaving how we choose to see them, when their choice may not be to behave in that manner. So it's quite a process to open up, to experience the love of which we are. And it's a day by day, moment by moment choice. Choice to choose the power of love over the power of fear. And where fear is, and we find fear, we've all got fear within. We're all experiencing it at different degrees. Say, okay, am I open to bring love to this situation or this event or this relationship? Am I truly available to experience what's here, what's being revealed, without having to make it into something else? Am I willing to experience it as it is? Because as it is, it's teaching me. As it is, it's growing me. It doesn't mean it feels good all the time. Growth doesn't always feel good. The outcome of the growth feels good. But as we're going through it, it may not. But that doesn't mean we shy away from it. That doesn't mean that we say, I can't feel that. I don't want to feel that. That's painful. I don't want to feel pain. We say, no, let me embrace the pain, because through the pain comes the growth. That doesn't mean pain is always necessary for growth. That's a different story. But if we're experiencing pain, we want to embrace it. And then we have the ability to then do what is called transmute that energy from fear into love through our own actions, by not running from it, not hiding from it, but knowing that we are a creator. We get to create via choice. We choose. So if this is my experience and it doesn't feel good, what is it I choose to experience? And let me take my focus and place it on what I choose to experience while I allow myself to be. And that creates a different outcome. And that's our evolution from fear to love. Realizing that we are as we were created. We are love. We are the abundant flow of eternal knowledge. We are all we need to be. The love of which we are knows no boundaries. No boundaries. It possesses not a person, place, or thing, and it needs nothing, as it is forever free, ever expanding. As we go deeper into the teachings of oneness, and this is only one podcast, so we're addressing where we are. But as we go deeper into it, or we go deeper into teachings that take us into self-reflection, and we begin to learn more about who we truly are, who is here having this experience, we realize that we are forever free. We're seeking freedom when we're already free, when we realize who we are. The lack of the freedom is from living the illusion of the separation in the fear. When we let go of that tight hold we have on that, and we step into and pivot from that to the field of love and start experiencing love, now we're shifting, now we're changing, now we're starting to experience that we are free. We are free to choose. I hope that makes sense. I'd love to hear what you feel in the comments, if this is clear, or if you'd like me to address it again in another way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now move on to another writing that was shared that I wanted to end with. Okay, here it is. Now, I've spoken a lot about love, a lot about fear, a lot about coming to the understanding of who we truly are. And that's a process. That's a process of self-reflecting, experiencing life, learning, and making a choice to live from truth and not fear. Now, this was written years ago as well by the team. It says, remember. And it was written as we were preparing for this great shift that we are deep within now. So this was preparing for that. So it says, as you witness the destruction that is taking place all around you, realize it is the rebuilding. See beyond what appears to be on the surface. Yes, you will empathize. You will feel for the loss of life. You will feel for the loss of old ways. Take heart in the knowledge that it is the beginning and not the ending. Place your attention at the beginning. Realize that at this time, greater than any other time, the focus is to be on the love of which you are. Focus on the developing and understanding of love. Love, trust, and accept. Love, trust, and accept. Love, trust, and accept. So as we're stepping into the process of realizing who we are in truth, we must connect from within ourselves, from within our own heart, to that which created us. We must open our hearts and say, okay, I surrender. I surrender my story of who I believe myself to be. I surrender this to the Creator. We can call God, infinite intelligence, Creator, prime Creator. I open up to the universe. I open up to God. I surrender. I surrender my present understanding of who I believe myself to be as I open my heart to be filled with the love of which I am. Help me to understand. Help me to see. Help me to experience the love. Help me to step out of the fear and into the love. We must open to the field of love. We must choose it. We must choose it. And once we choose it there, it's like turning on the tap water. We open the tap and out comes the water. We must turn on the tap. We must open the flow. We must step into it. It's always there. It's always flowing to us, but we're busy. We've got our attention on the fear. We've got our attention elsewhere. When we take our attention and we turn it back with our intention, so attention and intention, we must take our attention away with the intention to open up to love. And then we begin to have our own individual, unique experiences that power us up more to want and make us motivated to continue in that process of unfoldment with the awareness that something's happening here. I'm unfolding in a new way. I'm learning more about myself, learning that I hold the power to choose and that love is present for me. always. I'm not in this life walking alone. That's part of the illusion. That's part of the plan to keep us enslaved by keeping us believing we're separate, keeping us believing that we must try to achieve something, that there must be some way that we are saved by a power greater than us, that we are not holding this power, we are not one with it. And that's part of the illusion. That's not the truth. As we align with that which created us, we come into the knowing that we hold that power. It's that which created us, that's present within us. That is the power. We don't have to buy it. We don't have to be something to attain it. It simply is already present. It's becoming aware of that by seeking the assistance of that which created us to help us to become aware that we are that love. So to love, to trust ourselves enough to open up and allow ourselves to be vulnerable to experience the love. That is a releasing the control that we hold over our environment and allowing ourselves to experience in a whole new way. Having faith in stepping into situations where there's no evidence that precedes it, that this is the right way to go, but a feeling and trusting the feeling. And then we step into acceptance. I accept that which I am. I am that which is in the process of unfolding. I'm unfolding to witness the true nature of that which I am. I am unfolding to witness the true nature of that which I am. I am not seeking to become something else. There's no need to become something else. I remember, and I'll tell a story, and this is a sad story, but I'll be vulnerable and share it. I might have shared it before. My husband passed away many years ago of a cancer, and the cancer affected his bones. And when he was in his last days, and changing him and the bed sheets, myself and the nurse, we moved him, and it broke his back in a way of which there was, now it didn't protrude through the skin, but you saw the break. And I was sitting a few hours later looking at where he was lying in the bed, and I was focused on that break. And I was wrestling with that within myself. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's another break, and when is this going to end? And all the things I was going through. And then my cat at the time, and I'm very, very aware and in tune, and some people will call that psychic. So my cat telepathically can speak to me, and he jumped up in my lap. And now some people will say that sounds crazy, but it simply is so. He jumped up in my lap, and some people experience this as well. And he said to me, Mora. He said, Amora. And he said, look for the beauty. So it was telling me to look back at my husband and see the beauty. As I was in tears rolling down my face, seeing the horror. And I said, okay. And then I tried, and I looked, and I said, I can't see it. I see pain. I see broken. And he says, look again. And he kept at me to look again and look again and look again. And I looked, and I finally reached a place within me that I settled into, this is his process. This is his process. It need not make any sense to me. It's certainly not my choice, but it's his process, and he gets the right to experience his process. So I saw the beauty in the process, not in the break, but in the process. I went to bed a few hours after that. And in my dream state, many times I hear this booming voice, and it's usually when I've misstepped. I call it the booming, thundering voice because it comes to me, once again, it's Amora. And, very strongly, and said to me, "You are never to see anyone upon the earth as broken. Remember this. You are never to see anyone as broken." In other words, I'm never to align with the fact that anyone could possibly be broken. We are all whole. It is the illusion that sees brokenness. We are not broken. Not one of us is broken. We are whole. We're just living out the illusion and the appearance of being broken. But we are, in truth, we are whole. And if we get into the deeper aspect of this, there is part of us that is not here in this physical body, and that is whole. The part that's here is experiencing life in the illusion. All of us is not contained in this bodies of which we're in at this time. There's much more to us than we realize. But the part that is here is to experience the illusion, recognize it, and choose love by releasing the separation, choosing I am that which created me. I am as that which created me. I am as God created me, we can say. I am that. I am always that. That's all there is. I am that. I am the love of which created me. Here to experience myself as love. Here to experience the truth of my being. Born into the illusion of the separation, so that I can come to the awareness that that is not who I am. And I do that through living the life and the experiences. And for those of you that believe in reincarnation or believe that you've had many lives, or those of you that have the understanding and the knowledge that this is not the one and only life you get to live, your eternal life. But that is a choice that we make to open up to that and allow that to be our experience. It's not one we have to make today. If it's more than we're able to do, we allow ourselves to sit right where we are and to open up and to experience what we are in readiness for. We're all at different states of awareness. We're all of the same one source. Everything in all of creation holds within it the Creator. We are all of the one source. We all hold within us the Creator. All come from one source. All return to one source. All are that source. We are the eternal life. We are love. But we get to experience our own individual play of it in this free will experiment, which is shifting from fear to unity consciousness. It's in the process. Trust the process. And we each experience our own awakening in our own time. And the story I told about my husband with the cat, my cat, I could have been at a place where I was not able to see beauty. And that would have been okay too. My cat was trying to have me remember because I was getting drawn into the darkness. It was a very dark time. He was saying, "No, come out of it, snap out of it, snap out of it." And I was at a point of awareness where that was the result for me that I did. Someone else may not be able to access that. Some others are, some are not. We are where we are. And when we accept that, we accept where we are, we release the resistance and we're able to open to more in our own time, in our own way. Remember, we each must choose. We each must choose. No one gets the right to tell us what we are to experience and how we're to experience it. No one has that right. We can certainly give them the power to do that, but they don't have the right without us empowering them to do so. We hold the power always as co-creator with that which created us. So may we open to experience in the light of the truth of which we are in each and every moment to the very best that we can. Because if you're listening to this podcast and you got this far, it's certainly the course of which you are on. And I celebrate your return to oneness. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. If you like this podcast, please like and subscribe and share. Share with those that you feel are open to listening. Don't have to understand, but they just be open to listen. Because we'll each be touched in our own unique way. So thank you for allowing me to be present with you and share the voice of divine oneness. Until next week, take care. Bye-bye.